complex ballet of fate, where paths inevitably cross. Two gladiators emerged, as though the cosmos itself had conspired the preordained clash. In 1996, a fight that had been brewing for some time had finally come to fruition. At the time, Evander Holyfield had already established himself as the undisputed cruiserweight champion and a two-time heavyweight world champion. Despite his impressive credentials, many considered Holyfield past his prime, as he had a 2-2 record in his last 4 bouts, with losses to Michael Moore and Riddick Bowe. On the other hand, Iron Mike Tyson had only 1 loss, which many regarded as one of the greatest upsets in boxing history, though many dismissed it as a night off for Tyson. Between 1991 and 1995, Tyson was indicted and served time in prison. Upon his release, he quickly returns to form, decapitating opponents. Tyson was coming off a victory against Bruce Sheldon, reclaiming the WBA World Championship title. As he entered the fight, the WBA Heavyweight World title was on the line. Ring Magazine ranked Tyson as the number 3 heavyweight in the world, and Holyfield as number 5. The odds favored Tyson significantly, placing him as a 5-1 favorite. The matchup featured Tyson's aggressive, swarming style against Holyfield's boxer-puncher archetype. Holyfield demonstrated versatility in the ring, adept at fighting from all ranges, and even off his back foot. However, the fighting spirit naturally drew them to engage. Understanding Holyfield's approach to Tyson's peekaboo style is essential to understanding the opponent's strengths, weaknesses, and endgame strategy. Iron Mike Tyson was a ruthless butcher in the ring, striving to decapitate his opponents with destructive pinpoint shots. As a smaller heavyweight, Tyson was both fast and explosive. His punches comprised a symphony of destruction paired with dynamite hands, striking in harmonious chaos. His square stance, while sacrificing the jab, enhances dips and side-to-side movement, crucial for getting past the jab and closing the distance. The stance also loaded his power, allowing him to strike directly from his stance. The downside, however, was that this dynamic movement and explosiveness demanded a lot of energy, making the second half of the fight more favorable if he could endure the initial onslaught. However, this was no easy feat, as only 39 of Tyson's 45 victories went the distance. Tyson's style focused on bypassing the jab and closing the distance with blitzing speed. In his offense, the jab was secondary, removing that threat from consideration. The real danger lay on whether he would open up with a power punch, or which sequence he would use to set up that power punch. These sequences could unfold in layers, with Tyson making several moves to get into position before unloading his power. Alternatively, he could wait for Holyfield to open up, using an opportunity to slip and counter. It was all about speed, positioning, and explosive power.
Lands. Tyson knows he's got him in big trouble. If he doesn't answer it, Richard Steele.
One of the fundamental life lessons is that you must stand up for yourself when facing a bully. Tyson was a powerful puncher, and most punchers rely on their ability to push their opponents back. With Tyson's speed and explosiveness, standing your ground was a challenge. In hindsight, Holyfield possessed qualities that matched well against Tyson. Both fighters were on the smaller side of the heavyweight division, allowing Holyfield to match Tyson's speed. Until then, Tyson had always held the speed and power advantage in his favor. Another key factor was Holyfield's resistance. Once he could withstand a puncher's power, they often lacked a plan B, as the style relies more heavily on power rather than boxing skills. With Holyfield able to hold his ground, Tyson lost control. There's a significant difference between fighting on the front foot, pushing an opponent back, and standing toe-to-toe with both fighters' feet planted. This type of fighting becomes a battle for control, not dictated solely by the aggressor. It often involves a lot of clinching, which is a skill in itself and can drain energy over the rounds. With both fighters holding the ground, the fight typically unfolds like this. One initiates, the other reacts. And within that exchange is a sequence of movements. Once the sequence is complete, they either reset by stepping back or tie up until the referee intervenes. The focus is on the initial engagement and the sequence of exchanges. After the reset, it starts all over again. Much like an ongoing play in football, where the offense and defensive lines clash at the line of scrimmage with each play. A power puncher like Tyson typically doesn't focus on establishing a jab. Instead, the jab is used as a tool to close the distance and set up power punches. Holyfield, with the snapping jab, chose to jab with Tyson's jab. He had the speed to time his jabs effectively. When Holyfield's jab connected, it disrupted Tyson's rhythm, preventing him from following up with his power punches. Additionally, Tyson's head was easier to target when it remained on the center line. Tyson rarely committed to his jab, making it susceptible to counters. As soon as Holyfield spotted the jab, he would swiftly move in behind it, landing his own punch before Tyson could execute his next move. Tyson's style heavily depended on his hip movements. By slipping from side to side, he could evade punches and use the momentum to launch explosive attacks. Understanding this, Holyfield used his jab to trigger Tyson into slipping, allowing him to connect with sweeping punches where the paths intersected. Tyson's slips also positioned him perfectly for Holyfield to punch downward. It was a game of triggering Tyson and anticipating movements while exploiting his reactions. Even a simple feint could trigger the slip, exposing his opening. What truly sealed the deal was Holyfield's ability to roll within the pocket. As a power puncher, Tyson often threw wide punches, making them predictable. Rolling was the perfect counter to this. By rolling with the punches, Holyfield not only diminished the impact, but also used the motion to load up his own counterpunch. Like a batter winding up at the mound, retracting for power, and then exploding with force. Each time Holyfield rolled with Tyson's punches, Tyson would lose his balance due to the lack of a stopping point for his punches, causing the momentum to throw him off. This was when Tyson was most vulnerable, and Holyfield consistently capitalized on this flaw, ensuring he punished Tyson every time. Despite perfectly illustrating how to use an opponent's aggression against him, Tyson just couldn't resist swinging for the fences, and as a result, he left himself exposed.
Rock and rolls with his right hand. Very kind of boxing and trying to land that one big shot. He's going for it. Oh, Tyson's in. I can't tell you how much that jab was important. Sharp combinations, and then he'll come up the middle. You'll see the right hand and the hook.
Left hook to the head. He's got